Howdy howdy, this is Crafty Grinding back again with a arena cutoff video for Marvel Contest of Champions. Today I do a quick recap of round 1 results for the Winter Soldier and Blade arenas, then jump into some round 2 predictions. So first let's take a look at the round 1 results. So kind of as expected, pretty much across the board, with Winter Soldier 5-star feature over here on the left coming in at 21.6 million at the cutoff, with the top 10% on 11.6 million. Then jumping over to the 4-star feature coming in at 4.7 million with the top 10% at 4.2 million. Then we've got Blade, yeah, that's the hotly contested, the most interesting 4-star basic arena in some time. He came in at 5.3 million. Keep in mind this is lower than Starkey in the first round, and definitely Iceman, who still owns the crown as the highest ever 4-star basic arena. I think now that 5-star feature arena is now available, I don't think we'll ever see that Iceman kind of score again. If anybody was going to be able to do it, it would have been Blade. If Blade can't do it, we're never going to see it. Then jumping over to the 3-star feature arena for Winter Soldier, that came in at 650,000 with 11 to 25% shard tier roughly coming in at 340. There wasn't a clear survey result given by Reddit or other locations in the community that typically report scores, so that probably means there wasn't a ton of people out there reporting scores who actually went after this area. So anyway, that's just kind of a rough approximate what that number would be. So anyway, how do these results, actuals, compare to my predictions? Let's take a quick look. So as you can see, pretty much across the board, I was within 5% or even 10% in some cases. So all in all, pretty good, kind of where I want to land across the board. So for the most part, these predictions we're in the ballpark, which is always, like I say, the target that I try to go within 10% to higher or lower kind of thing. So now with the round 1 results recapped, let's jump into some round 2 analysis, starting first with the 5-star feature the 5-star feature arena. So over here on the left, you can see that we steadily seen an increase in the cutoffs over time, with typically the second round either at the same level or a little bit higher. But then we had that drop with Nebula, which brought it kind of in the same ballpark that we saw for Winter Soldier. But in the second round, her arena cutoff went higher as well. So I think we can expect with Winter Soldier, I expect maybe a slight bump, nothing too high though, because there's not a lot of love for Nebula, or sorry, for Winter Soldier. He's more like Gambit versus Luke Cage and Nebula, who they're, that people think they're pretty decent champs they have in the game. So I think we're going to see kind of behavior kind of similar to Gambit, maybe a small tick higher, but nothing tremendous there. Then jumping over to the 4-star feature arena, you can see between round 1 and round 2, there's always a bump, sometimes small, sometimes big. And again, looking at Gambit's arena, you can see that there was a bump around 300,000, but nothing too significant. Everybody else, all the other arenas, jumped up to anywhere from 800 to 900,000. So I think, again, I'm going to compare it closer to the Gambit type of second round versus the other arenas. Then not lastly, but next with the 4-star basic Blade arena, and this is probably the one everybody's most interested in, you can see there between round 1 and round 2, for the most part, there's a slight bump, nothing tremendous. We're talking like 100,000 point difference between round 1 and round 2. But then most recently with Mephisto, it went from 3.3 to 3.1, so there was actually a slight drop. Now the only thing close in terms of the first round, the size or the actual number, how big it was Medusa at 3.8, and again, it wasn't anywhere close to the 5.3 for Blade. But you can see before this one, before Blade's arena, when the highest number was Medusa at 3.8, there was an increase of 100,000. So you can see that there could be an increase even when there was already a pretty high number, especially compared to the rest for this 4-star basic arena. So I think we're going to see something very similar to that for Blade. It's going to be in the ballpark, but nothing too tremendous in terms of a drop or increase. And lastly, when it comes to the 3-star feature arena for Winter Soldier, you can see between round 1 and round 2, there's typically a higher number, but nothing too significant. And again, I think we're going to see that here for Winter Soldier. So considering all these trends, here are my thoughts for the second round cutoffs. Starting first with Winter Soldier 5-star, I think he'll come in at 22.5, with the top 10% shard tier coming in at 12 million. I think the top 800 to get the 4-star feature Winter Soldier will come in right around 5.1 million, with the top 10% at 4.2 million. Jumping over to the 4-star basic, I think with Blade we're going to see that slight bump. Nothing too tremendous. Coming in at 5.4 million with 11 to 25% at 1.7 million. And then lastly, for the 3-star feature arena, I think that to get that 3-star Winter Soldier, you'll need to go to 675 with 11 to 25% chart tier at 450,000. Again, these estimates, these predictions for the cutoffs are for the veterans bracket. So these are the cutoffs. I always like, especially with a arena like Blade, I always kind of like to give a safety grind target, a little buffer just in case the numbers are a little bit higher than what's expected. So here are my thoughts on what you want to kind of do for a safe grind, kind of the minimum safe grind for that 5-star feature Winter Soldier. You want to go to 24 million. For the 4-star feature Winter Soldier, you want to go to 5.5 million. For Blade, you want to go to 5.7 in the 4-star basic arena. And lastly, for the 3-star feature Winter Soldier, you want to go to 700,000. And again, these numbers are for the veterans bracket. When it comes to the beginner and intermediate bracket, as I always say, I just don't have a lot of historical data to do any trend analysis on. And even if I did, it wouldn't necessarily be an apples-to-apples comparison because there's a lot of volatility just in terms of the number of people competing in these arenas. So just kind of like to give some rough ballpark numbers based off of my own personal experience, but this is starting to get aged a bit by a couple months, plus any input that I can get from the community from now and then, every now and then when people post their results in the comment section of some of my videos. So anyway, with all that in mind, here are my kind of rough ranges to keep in mind for these brackets. First, for the beginners at the top here. And again, the beginner bracket means you've been your current account that you're playing has been open for less than 31 days. So for the 3-star feature, that's 245,000 if you want to get that Winter Soldier. If you want to get Blade, you better go to, it says 750, I would go to 900,000. And for the 4-star feature Winter Soldier, go to 1.2 million. Now jumping over to the intermediate bracket, meaning your account's been open for 31 to 60 days. For the 3-star feature Winter Soldier, you want to go to 525. For the 4-star basic Blade, you want to go to 1 million, maybe even 1.2 million. And then for the 4-star feature Winter Soldier, you want to go to 1.2 million. And again, these are just some very rough ranges to kind of keep in mind because there's not a lot of historical cutoff data that I have to base any trend analysis on. But anyway, these are my thoughts for all the different brackets, and here's again my thoughts for the cutoff for the veterans bracket. Would love to hear your thoughts. Throw it on down in the comment section. We can talk about it there. If you have any questions, put those in there as well. And if you enjoyed this video, would really appreciate you clicking that thumbs up button. And if you like this and other videos I have on the channel, would really appreciate a subscribe. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a great day.